Unexpected noise alert. Do you guys know what that was? That's right. My labret had to come out so I could get my teeth worked on. Oh my god. Shit. I'm oh my god. Oh my god. I'm not gonna like re-record. This is the first record I'm pressing and that's it. Cause like this is, I don't want to be on here any longer than I have to. No offense. I'm just like, actually, oh my god. This fucking dental appointment. You guys, first, I should have thought about the format of this podcast because I kind of feel bad for anybody new that is like, ooh, so many episodes. I am not starting there. Let me just start here. And they're like, who the fuck is this person? Like, you know, I want to do some version of like too long didn't read, like, I don't know, too much didn't listen or something. So if anybody happened upon this episode, Alicia's my wife, and I think that's the only thing you have to know. And I'm autistic. Yeah. Not a whole lot to catch up on. Oh my god, this fucking dentist bullshit. Okay, so like, if you were following along, you know what happened when I showed up when I was supposed to have my appointment, and they didn't have the nitrous. So, I showed up today, and why the hell did I agree to 7:30 in the morning? I am not about those hours anymore. So I did the same thing that I did prior to having to like drive Alicia to ketamine therapy that early in the morning, and I just stayed up all night because it's not hard to do. I have lots to keep me occupied, and so I would rather have just stayed busy than try to get like a few hours of sleep and wake up to an annoying ass alarm. No thank you. I am done with alarms. No more. But so yeah, so I just stayed up all night. So I kind of feel like it's still yesterday. But anyways, let me just get into the what happened today. So 7:30 in the morning, I get my regular cleaning, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say people's names, like their real names. I think I am, if like they're public to the world, right? Because like the dentist place has a website, so doesn't that mean I get to say their actual names? If this is inappropriate and I'm not supposed to, I'm sorry. Just let me know. I don't know what I'm going to do about it, but just let me know. So I showed up, and Elaine is the tech. She's got the nitrous ready. I get my cleaning done, and I was due for like the x-rays. So she did that, and then did all the stuff she's supposed to. And then Dr. Narovsky she's out of the two dentists. I prefer her, and I stay with her. So she came in at the end, and she noticed a new spot on one of my teeth based on like the x-rays. And so she was explaining to me like what the spot was, and the rest was a blur, you guys. It was like a blur. So, I should have probably said this. If there's anybody in recovery, and like, I'm being serious, if anybody is in recovery from like drugs or alcohol, like maybe don't listen to this episode, because I'm going to talk about my nitrous oxide journey, and I don't want to like trigger anybody if they're in recovery. I have to say that I used to be a counselor, and plus, I don't want to trigger anybody if I don't have to. But anyways, so yeah, okay. I'm in the chair, the cleaning is done, the nitrous is removed, and I'm thinking that like Dr. Narovsky's gonna just come in here and be like, so are you okay with like your teeth? You don't need anything, like, because my teeth are all sensitive. Like, they're just all sensitive. So I don't even like, I don't even know why I said that. They're just so sensitive. Oh my God. Sorry. It's almost 5 minutes. I'm not going back. Jeez. This was like hours ago, by the way. What the fuck? Okay. So where am I at? Okay. Yeah. She comes in now. Okay. I'm not good at explaining. I'm actually having a hard time getting this episode off the ground because like I'm not talking very, very coherently, I don't think. But turns out that like there was something on one of my teeth, and here was the three options, the best way I can describe it. Try to get a root canal. And this is like a cavity under a filling, like an old filling. I don't know what that's all about. But anyways, so it was root canal, it was let's put a filling or some shit on there, and like that option would be good temporarily, and then the other option was to put something stronger over the cavity or something that would last longer. Does that make sense? It's the best way I can describe it. So she gave me the choice, Dr. Narofsky. She's like, you can choose these 3 things. And she's like, oh, by the way, do you want to just like stay and like get it done? Because it turned out like she had a patient that canceled on her. So she's like, you know, you're kind of already anxious, so that way you don't have to anticipate anything. And I was like, yeah, might as well. You guys, I had no fucking idea that Dr. Narofsky had been on vacation for like the last month. She's been in some fucking island somewhere, drinking like margaritas, you know, like that shit's real, on a beach somewhere. And this was her first day back from that vacation. And she was raring and ready to go. And I was her first patient. And I was like, oh my God, no wonder she's so excited to like, get in my mouth. Like, it's interesting. I don't understand why people like teeth so much, but whatever. So I told her I would take the option that was like in the middle, not the root canal and not the one that isn't going to help me for very long term. So good luck with you guys. You guys, good luck figuring out whatever that was that I just said. And so Elaine's like, okay, we're going to move you down to one of Dr. Narofsky's rooms and she'll get going with you down there. And I'm like, okay. So Elaine walks me down and she's like, there you go. And she turns to leave. And I'm like, where are you going? And she's like, well, I got other stuff I have to do. And there was this other lady in there. I'm going to call her Mary because I've never met her before. And I think it started with an M and I'm not good with names and I was anxious. So it's Mary. And Mary was in there. And I was like, I don't know who this lady is. And Elaine's like, she's fine. You're in good hands. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, why didn't you tell me I would have to go to another technician? Because you know why, people? Because like, I'm sure the majority of people don't get this bent out of shape over this shit. Oh my God. Okay, so my 1 hour turned into 3. I was there for 3 fucking hours until 10:30. And so like I'm in this chair, right? And so I'm just going to say I think I was inappropriate. I think I did something I wasn't supposed to do, but I'm kind of like I'm okay that I did it. So I have decided that the majority of the people that work at that dental place are autistic. My doctor, Dr. Narofsky, I was sitting there when she was like working on me with the second issue and I was under the nitrous stuff. And I was like trying to decipher, is she an ordinary person or is she autistic? Because it's like one or the other and I couldn't pinpoint which it was. And if you're wondering why this is so important, this is just what my brain does every time I meet somebody. I automatically start classifying them. I don't know, my brain just does it. And Dr. Narofsky was hard to read. And I've known this lady for like years. I've been going to see her for years. And today I decided she is one of us and she is so good at masking. So like her and Mary are around my age, probably late 30s, early 40s. And Dr. Narofsky, this is how I know she's autistic. Not just because like she's got the eyes. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, you know, you've heard the Autistic Culture podcast, they talk about, like, us having, like, some sort of, like, autistic accent and, like, a look or something. I don't find that offensive or anything. That's how I would describe Dr. Narofsky. She was, like, her face was showing me one thing, and my brain was like, but is it really? Is it really? I don't know. And it is, because her special interest is teeth. And she was so happy that I decided to stay longer and get in that chair. And she just was like, as if my life was on the line. They got me into the chair. They strapped the nitrous thing on the mask over my nose. The tools got laid out. And I'm like, whoa, you guys are like really hardcore going at this. And it was as if I wasn't even in the room anymore at times. Because Dr. Narofsky, it was like she was so focused on my teeth. She was excited to get in there. She was just like all about the x-rays. It was hilarious. And I was like, oh yeah, the teeth are your special interest, huh? And you just had this long vacation and like you're recharged and I'm the first person that you get, which, you know, on one hand, that's great. You're like refreshed and you're going to do a great job. But on the other hand, it's like, oh no, there's too much excitement involved with this procedure. And I don't know what to do with that. So I am in my head. This is like, I had out of 3 hours that I was there, 2 hours and 45 minutes of nitrous. That's how much it was nitrous I had. You could probably tell. I had that much nitrous. Oh my God. And you know what? I'm never going to do 3 hours of that again, because it was a whole weird experience that second time around. So like, I'm in there, Dr. Narofsky's on one side, Mary, the tech, and the nitrous lady is on the other side. And they just start going to town in my mouth. And, they're having like conversation and stuff like that. And I'm trying to like, what kind of conversation is this? Is this like small talk or not? Nope. It was just, she dove right in there and she's like, we did this. And she was talking about her vacation and sharing things that like, people wouldn't normally share. It's, don't ask me what they were. I just had that thought several times. So she was talking about like how much fun she had, and that it was her birthday and she was celebrating, and that she found out that I think I can tell this story because I don't know her, right? It doesn't count that she just told me. So is it free for me to tell? I don't know. I am not a good secret keeper, but she didn't say this was a secret. So she's got a brain tumor, right? This is how I figured out that she was like definitely autistic. She goes, I have a brain tumor that I have known I've had for years. And she said, there were no x-rays. There was nothing that showed her like over the years that like she didn't go and ask for like her head to get scanned to show this. She just had like a feeling because she was starting to gain weight and something didn't feel right. And so like she finally got checked out. They were like, you have a benign tumor, but it's pressing on something. I don't know how to explain that. And so she goes, I'm gaining this weight now. And so I'm trying to figure that out. And it's because like the brain tumor. And she was talking about how like some of her family and friends, when she started to initially gain the weight, they were like mean. They were like, get on Weight Watchers. Who the fuck is still doing that? Is Jenny Craig alive? Like, who is doing Weight Watchers? I think that was Jenny Craig. And that they were just like being fucking rude about her gaining weight. And I'm like, that is nobody's business. And so then she finds out that, yep, I do in fact have a tumor. I don't know how this bitch figured that out on her own, but that was the result of like whatever it's pressing on, it's causing weight gain. I don't know. I hope you can make sense of that. And so now she's got this reason, and she's telling her friends and her family, this is, why I'm gaining weight. And like the ones that were just, they were presented with the evidence and they didn't give a shit. And they were still like, well, you should try to eat healthy and stuff. And this bitch is like a yoga bougie. She's like one of those. She does yoga and she's fit and she eats healthy. Like, come on. And the way that she was telling it, she might as well have been talking about autism. Like she might as well have been talking about, because that experience, and I told her, I said, I am not comparing, by the way, yes, they know I'm autistic. I was like, I'm not comparing this to like your brain tumor. Like that is not at all on the same level. But I do understand, like, the feeling of like not being believed, and then you have the actual evidence. Not that you need to produce evidence, because people should just believe you to begin with, but I know that feeling all too well. And so I'm very happy that she's autistic. And so this other lady, this Mary lady, oh man. Okay. So I don't think it was the nitrous oxide that made me open my mouth and say this, because I told her, look, this lady, she had a lot of time to talk to me because they were waiting for stuff to set in my mouth, like I don't know what the fuck it was, but she was trying to keep me occupied, and she was like telling me stories and stuff, and they were interesting. So basically she's addicted to Peeps and other candy, and she's trying to wean herself off of Peeps. This sounds very familiar to me. She just randomly mentioned that like she was fine living alone all those years before she met her boyfriend. She's like, I was great. I loved myself. I was great to be around. But as soon as I like started living with somebody, this entirely different person emerged from me. And the way that she worded it, I don't remember the exact words, but like, it's like, when I say that Alicia should have left me years ago, she really should have, because I was a horrible person. I just was. And I'm still trying to like worked through that because that shift, oh, I hated being that person. But anyways, that's how she described what she turned into with her boyfriend. And it gets better. She was talking about like routines. They recently moved to the Syracuse area from like 2 hours away. And she's like, I was so nervous, like Syracuse, like what's that all about? And she's like, and I had to like figure out how to do my routines, like incorporate those into this new change. And she's like, now I finally have my coffee place and my places to go where I feel comfortable. And she's like, being a dental tech is like a hobby for her, kind of. She's like, that's what gets me out of the house. So come on, guys. Totally autistic. Not to mention, she met all the other criteria. Like, I could just tell, right? I could tell she was autistic, and my mouth opened up. And you know what? She kind of was inviting it a little bit because she was like, I don't know why I'm so anxious all the time. She talked about like having social anxiety. So I'm laying there, and at this point, like, I'm not really inhaling a whole bunch of oxide. I'm just, because we've been talking. So like, I'm not under the influence of that really, even though that's still over my nose. And I'm like, hey, you sound autistic. Oh my God. She's like, huh? And the look that she gave me, it was not, because I'm sorry, guys, that I said this. I said, please don't take this as an insult. That is not an insult. And I said that because I wasn't initially sure what the look was. And she's like, oh no, I don't find it an insult at all. It was almost like not a knowing, like maybe a knowing look, but like she didn't seem surprised that I pointed that out. And she had mentioned that like she has a niece that's on the spectrum, and I'm like, yeah. And so I'm trying to be more comfortable telling people that I'm autistic. It's hard because I know that people don't understand really what autism is. And I don't know this lady. This is the first time I met her, but like, and I told her, I was like, sorry that like I've known you for like 5 minutes and I'm like, you're autistic, but I'm like, I think you are. And like, I told her what it did for me. Oh my God, this is terrible, you guys. You know how like something works for you and you think it's going to work for everybody, and you just tell them, you're like, here's your information. Here you go. I just gave you this piece of awareness. Now go run off with it and do something good. And I don't know how to stop that. It just happened. I was trying not to do it. I couldn't keep my mouth shut, and I felt that she needed to know. And yeah, I don't know what she's going to do with that information. And at the end of like, when I left, she was like, it was really nice to meet you. I was like, and I said, really? You're not going to go home to your boyfriend and be like, this bitch at the dental office told me that I'm autistic? And she started laughing. She's like, no. And she's like, well, maybe. I just was like, oh, please just research, please research. And I just explained it as, have you ever felt like you've never fit in? And she goes, yeah, like my whole life. And I'm like, well, I felt that way too until like almost 2 years ago when I found out that I'm autistic, and I no longer have the feeling of I don't belong. I don't feel that way at all anymore. I feel like I do belong on this planet. And I told her it was like a paradigm shift. And I said, like if you're curious, you can just do some reading and see if like, you identify with any other. Yeah, I had to be mature because I really just wanted to say, bitch, like you're autistic. I know you are. I swear. Now, what are you going to go do with this? You're welcome. Like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Was that an okay thing to do? Probably not. Because Alicia was like, you said that? I was like, well, yeah. And she's like, you can't just like go around and be like handing out diagnoses. Because, you guys, I told you about like the BPD shit that I used to do. Like, you're borderline. You're borderline. I'm inappropriate. And I told Alicia, I was like, you know what? I actually don't care about this one because I don't think autism is a diagnosis. It should not be a diagnosis. It should get the fuck out of the DSM soon. And I told her, I was like, I wasn't being like in her face about it. I just tossed it out there. Like I just tossed it out there. So I don't know what she's going to do with it. But, aside from all of that, you guys, I levitated for like 2.5 hours. I was levitating off that fucking chair. Oh my God, the anxiety. They kept asking me like, is the nitrous working? Is the nitrous working? And I'm like, it is. And Dr. Neuropsy's like, take deep breaths. And like, if you've listened to my past episodes, I wore the same pants that I always wear to the dentist office. I had the same hoodie on. and I was clenching the hoodie like inside. Oh my God. I got it such a workout. I think I'm good for the rest of the year actually, because I don't work out, and I really feel like I worked out after that. I'm not even lying. And in my head, while all of this is going on, like Dr. Narovsky's like telling Mary about like her wonderful vacation, and like Mary sharing stuff. And Dr. Narovsky's like, you know, she talks to me and she's like, do you mind that we're talking? She's like, you know, if I know you, like, you probably appreciate the distraction. And I'm like, yes, keep talking. Because it was very interesting stuff. So it's not like they were two ordinary people, or even one spectrum person and one ordinary person. It wasn't even that. It was two two of people like us, and they were having such an interesting conversation that, like, when Dr. Narovsky was talking about being on that beach, I was so high, kind of. I felt like I was in that movie with her. I was on the beach. I had the two lattes, one in one hand, one in the other one. I was bougie walking down the beach, looking around like, hey guys, I'm on vacation. Like, everything she described, I pictured, like, I actually thought I was doing it. Like, I knew I wasn't, but, like, it felt like I was there. It was a weird experience. And I don't have a history of, like, drug use or, like, getting high, just, you know what I mean? Like, before the pot, I don't know. Like, anyways, I don't know why I said that. But I was so fucking high. I guess that's the only way I can describe it. And I don't even like saying high because, ugh. But it was a party in my head. And I would say around the 2-hour mark of the nitrous, right? I felt like it was still working, but I also felt like this whole process needs to be done. And because 1 minute I'm on the beach sipping a latte and like a margarita, and like the next minute I'm noticing that like the only thing on the chair is my ass, because even my back was up off the chair, and they were like, you need to just kind of, you know, relax or whatever. And I'm like, it's easy for you to say. And they're like, do you want more nitrous? And I said, do not increase it, because I had to have them decrease it because I thought I was going to pass out. Like, I've lost more weight since the last time, so I need less of a level of oxide or dose or whatever. And I'm sorry guys, I am so embarrassed still about this anxiety. Like, when I went to the dentist office at 7:30, I was the only one in the waiting area. When I left 3 hours later, that waiting area was full. They all heard me up at the desk. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I think that was like, yeah, I levitated. I got a lot of exercise. I really I felt like I was running a marathon, because whenever they would take a break with my mouth, I would just be like, like, whoo. And then as soon as the tools would go back to my mouth, I'm like clenching my hoodie and like, but I'm also like, I had to convince Mary, because Elaine knows this now, but Mary doesn't, because she doesn't know me. And I'm like, Mary, I know that it doesn't look like I'm having a good time with this nitrous. I get that, like, this whole thing is like, but I promise you, like, this is exactly what needs to be happening right now. And I was like, I promise you that, like, I actually do feel fine. Because I did feel fine, even though it sounds like I didn't. But basically, like, I have made it so that, like, I know just the right amount of nitrous oxide they need to give me to make me feel like, woo, like, I can do this. And then, like, but I have to make sure I have, like, complete control, because I don't know. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I'm just jumping all over the place at this point. But yeah, they got done. I got done with them. I go up to the desk, and there's this new lady there, and I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm waiting for her to tell me something. Like, I already had my appointment, but, like, was I supposed to pay? Did I have a copay? Like, what was going on? It's like I'm standing there, and, like, I'm noticing that the back of my hoodie there's a huge sweat stain spot. I'm not talking about in the small of my back. I'm talking about all up my back. It was noticeable to anybody looking at me that, like, I was sweating like a fucking pig. And I didn't feel that embarrassed about that part, because it turns out that Dr. Narovsky and Mary are also in menopause. And so they had the window cracked. It's like 30 degrees outside. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Yeah, that was great that window was cracked. But anyways, and so like I get up there at the desk and like I'm waiting and then the lady's like, oh, the insurance or something, and I'm like, look, like, does it show on the computer that I paid for the nitrous the last time? Because you know what, guys, they charged me twice for this, like, because they consider that second procedure a whole different procedure, which it was. So that means that nitrous oxide is a whole different, like, that has to get charged separately as well. So I had to pay $145 times 2, whatever that number is. That's how much I paid for nitrous oxide between, pretty much today. They had a bit of a credit because anyways. So I'm trying to tell her that, and then like I'm very anxious still, and like she's just her mouth is moving. Something about insurance is coming out, something about $300 something is coming out, and then I remembered saying like, oh, just tell me, what am I supposed to do right now? And she's like, well, right now I would recommend paying the $300 and whatever the money was. I was like, okay, cool. And like things have been kind of tight lately, so like we've been using the credit card for like dentist stuff, like we just don't have like several $100s laying around most of the time. And so I'm standing there. These people fucking know me, but this new lady doesn't. And I said, look, I don't have the card. I live like right down the road, like 30 seconds down the road. But I guarantee you that like when I go out of this building, I'm not coming back in. I am not going to my house to get a card to come back and pay. And I said, that's not happening. So will you be okay if my wife just pops in here when she's off of work and she can pay? And the new lady obviously doesn't know me. And she's like, oh, I'm not. She's like looking around like, is this allowed? Is this allowed? And then like the other two that are up there, they know me. And like one of them was just laughing. And I was like, I'm not trying to jip you guys. Like, do you want my driver's license? Do you want my VA card? Like, you can take something from me. And then that way you know that Alicia really will come and pay. And like, oh my God, I shouldn't have to be like thinking this way and saying these things. But I was so anxious. I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. And I was like, I've been coming here for almost a decade. I'm not going to jip you. And like the one that was laughing was like just waving me out. She's like, just go. It'll be okay. Oh my God. And then like I had to walk past the waiting room and people were looking at me. There was like, I don't know, 7. I wasn't counting, but there were a lot of people. It was quiet. It was so quiet out there. And I'm just like, the longest walk of my entire life really was just like 2 feet out the door. But it felt like forever and they were looking at me and I know I was being loud. And I got into the car and I texted Alicia, call me. I is okay. That's what I wrote. I don't even remember writing that. And so I get home and she calls me and I'm like, you need to go there. I don't understand whatever I'm supposed to pay. I don't know what they want from me. Can you go and like, please figure that out? And like, please pay them. I don't want them to think that I just ran away and didn't pay. Like, I was so anxious about that. And she's laughing and she's like, okay. And she goes, actually, I can just like take my lunch and I'll go over there right now and see what's up. And that's what she did. And I appreciate it. And as soon as she walked in there, she was like, so I'm here and the other one was like, oh yeah, you're here to pay? Like, because it was not even 20 minutes that I had left. And I don't know what the fuck they were saying about me. I guess it doesn't matter. But Alicia paid. Like, do you know the things that you think, the things that you do when your anxiety is at an all-time high. And at that point, like, I was at the desk, I just knew I was going to bolt if something didn't happen soon because I needed to get out of that place. I hate the dentist's place. I hate it. But I did learn that I can go on different kinds of journeys on the nitrous oxide. It was very entertaining, very like voyeuristic, or what's that word? Like living vicariously through somebody, but you actually think that like the experience is happening to you. It was so fucking weird. But at the same time, I also felt like I was in control. And at the same time, I was also levitating. Like half of my body was just like frozen off of the chair. I was frozen, guys. I was frozen. My legs frozen. Just hanging up in the air, frozen. And Mary had to keep like a hand on my shoulder to kind of make sure that like my back wouldn't come up off the thing. It was just terrible. And I don't know if that was a good idea for me that I agreed to stay and get all that done, but yeah, and not to mention when Alicia's like, "Oh, what do they have to do? What was the extra thing they had to do with your tooth?" And I'm like, "I don't know." My God, I don't know. And I was like, these are the options they gave me. I have no idea if they said there was some cavity in there. I was like, I don't fucking know what is going on with my tooth. She pointed at the thing, and like, this dentist place doesn't like rip people off. Like, they're a local place. Like, they're really, really good. They're nice people. So I knew they weren't like ripping me off or anything, but, what was I just saying? Ah, shit. Oh, the thing. Yeah. So I didn't even know. Really, I didn't really understand what was going on with that tooth, but like, I just remember I said, I don't want to lose any teeth today. Like, I'm not about that right now. I want to keep all my teeth. And I said, for as long as I can. So you're not taking any teeth from me, so you better figure something out. And they figured it out. And I don't know what it is I don't know what they did. I don't know. There's something that happened in my mouth. And it fucking hurts. And, the Novocaine, I needed an extra shot of that because it started wearing off halfway through. And Dr. Narovsky thought I was like, initially, she's like, are you for real right now? Because I gave you a high dose. I'm like, do you see how anxious I am? I was like, it wore off. Give me another one. Terrible. It's just, I wish that, why does this have to be such an ordeal for me? And this is the hilarious thing. When Dr. Narovsky, like, went off to get something, Mary was telling me that there was a 95-year-old woman in that place yesterday, and she had her last cleaning, and after that she told them, I'm not getting any more dental work done for the rest of my life. This bitch was like 95 years old. I was like, you had a 95-year-old sitting in here, like, somebody was still like, they were taking care of their teeth until like they're almost 100. I would have given up years before that. Like, late 70s, 80s. I don't fucking care if I lose my teeth at that point. Like, whatever. But we're not there yet. And I thought that was fascinating and hilarious at the same time, because she was like, yeah, it's probably the last I'm going to see of her because she's old. And I don't mean this to sound disrespectful. I hope that came out. Like, it was just funny. It was like random. Like, where did this story come from? You just tell me that like 95-year-old came in there yesterday and had their last clean and said, that's it for the rest of my life. 95 years was enough time, for my mouth. I'm good. What the hell? Did this today really happen? And so then I get home, and I had been planning to go to sleep, but that was before I knew I was going to be there for 3 hours. So I get home. I don't know what to do. I drink a Celsius because that's not a good idea. It really isn't. I drank half of it, and I was like bebopping around the house. Like, do I do this chore? Like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? And then I was like, maybe I should just like go to bed and see if I can go to sleep. And so that's what I did. And I got 2 hours. That was it. And that's all I really needed, even though it may not sound like it. It probably sounds like I needed more. But I needed to have that nap because I needed to make sure that yesterday and today were two distinct days, instead of it all running together and then me not knowing if I'm still in yesterday or if I'm in today. I don't know. So I had to have that 2 hour nap, and now I know that I'm in today. Like, oh my God. Oh, and it's almost 6:00 at night, and this was hours ago, and I waited to record. I was going to do it as soon as I got home, and I even knew better than that, but woof, imagine what I would have sounded like then. So I think that's all I wanted to say about this. I thought for sure I was done with dentist episodes. I thought for sure, because I've already done like a couple, or, like seriously. Why can't I just go and get like a cleaning and like have a good time in my head for like 45 minutes and like that's that? But, I'm glad that Dr. Narovsky, I don't know, got her rocks off fucking working on my teeth. I don't know. She was very happy. Very, very happy about that. About my tooth needing all that work. And she was very pleased with herself when we were done. I'm like, it was hilarious. Sorry, guys. I can't, like, there are half of those people are autistic. They don't know it. And I told one of them, and I don't know if that was a good idea. It probably isn't. I am like so inappropriate. Like, I have no idea. Boundaries. Sometimes I overshare like too much. Because, like, when, you know, the window was cracked or whatever, when I went into that new room, Mary was like, is this okay that this window is open? Like, we usually run warm. And I'm like, I'm in menopause. I said it real loud. I'm pretty sure everybody outside of that room heard me too. And I guess that's not something that you're supposed to say. Because somebody gave me a weird look when I said it in the store the other day. Like, don't worry, I'm not going around telling people I'm autistic and in menopause, but, like, I did not know that that was something, like, why is that such an awkward thing to say? People are like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said menopause. But they were in menopause too, so, like, they got it. But, like, you know what I mean? Why do people act all weird about that? Like, it's a reality. Like, yes, it's 30 degrees outside, people. I went to the store the other day. I was in shorts and a very light hoodie, and I was getting stares. And somebody actually questioned me, like, aren't you cold? And you know what? I wanted to say a whole bunch of stuff to that, but I reminded myself I'm not in my 20s. And I said, I am in menopause. They just looked away. Like, just looked at me for like 5 more seconds, and then just like, okay. What the fuck? Oh my God, I gotta go. Sorry it was this long, but I think I got all the crazy out of my head. And if this was relatable, that is the entire point. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.